Chaos, destruction, sudden change. Do these sound familiar? Well, have you ever pulled a bad tarot card? Maybe you were hoping for something really inspiring, but you drew dun dun dun, the Tower. So people can be a little nervous about that card. And I'll admit, at first glance, it may not seem like a card with people falling from a burning tower has much, positivity to offer. So that's what I want to talk about today. The good, the bad, and the not so ugly meanings behind a few of the most asked about tarot cards. Plus, I'll show you how to challenge some of your ideas about those cards so that the next time you do a reading, you might find that they aren't so scary after all. Now, because the imagery in the tarot cards is so strong and powerful, we often sense its energy before we really understand what's going on behind the scenes. So, for example, the imagery in the cards like the Ten of Swords, the Tower, the Devil, can lead us to think that these cards are inherently bad or negative. Now, while the imagery in cards like the Sun or the Two of Cups or the Lovers depicts highly positive scenes which lead us to perceive that these are good tarot cards. But really, it's not the imagery itself that makes a good or a bad card, it's how we perceive that imagery. Now, while our first reaction might be to think that a card is bad because of what we see in the picture, we actually need to invite ourselves to go beyond our first reaction and delve deeper into exploring all sides of that card. Now, every tarot card has its light and its shade, its positive and its negative qualities. And when we start to let go of the need to attribute black and white interpretations to the cards, we actually allow more possibilities to bloom. Now, we also can't assume that a particular card is always going to be a positive or a negative energy for an individual's life. So, for example, the Tower could actually be really inspirational for someone who's looking for the impetus to leave a dead-end job, while maybe the Lovers might feel a little bit harsh to someone who's fresh out of a breakup. So let's explore the light and dark of some cards that might seem good or bad at first glance. Here's one that people see a lot of dread in their tarot readings when it appears, and that is the Devil. I mean, it's the Devil. Like, what more is there to say about that? Now, it actually turns out there's quite a bit, because if we look at the man and the woman on this card, we can see that they have a chain around their necks. Pretty scary, right? But if you look closer, those chains actually look pretty easy to remove. So how could this card have a positive meaning? Well, what if someone's struggling to kick a bad habit? Or, this card could actually show that really they've got some control and they can take off the chain and break the habit whenever they're ready. Now, that actually sounds pretty hopeful, doesn't it? So it wouldn't be a bad tarot card video if I didn't mention the Death card. Oh my goodness, you only need to say the name of this card and it sends a shiver up your spine. Now, in the Radiant Rider-Waite deck, what we see is the figure of Death in his black armor riding upon a white horse. Now, his horse seems huge compared to the people in front of the horse. And we see that a king has actually been struck down and appears dead. Now, to me, this is a sign that death stops at no one. Death reaches everybody, even if you're royalty like the king. Now, even if you've got loads and loads of money or you're completely poor, it really doesn't matter because we all know that death will come. Now, when I see this card coming up, yes, it may suggest an intense ending to something, but I'm always looking for what's happening out of that death. So from death is rebirth and regeneration. So what kinds of changes and transformations are occurring right now in this person's life? So if you pull this card in a tarot reading, ask yourself, what changes am I experiencing right now? And what do I need to let go of and release in order for this new aspect to come through? In order for me to be reborn or regenerated in some way? Now, how about a typical good card? Let's take a look at the Two of Cups. Now, here we have two people pledging their love for each other, and the symbol of the two snakes intertwined represents that exchange. So a really nice flow of love between this man and a woman. Sounds great, right? Well, maybe this card comes up when you're doing a reading about potential problems. and you're wondering how a relationship could possibly be a problem. But who knows? Because perhaps that relationship is one that is not appropriate or healthy for some reason. Perhaps it's an affair or with a colleague or a best friend. Now, we've just gone through a few cards here, but you can explore the light and shade like this for every card in the deck. Not only the ones that seem obviously positive or negative. Now, I know that can feel a little overwhelming, like there's way too much to learn and remember about all the cards. So don't worry, I've been there and I have so many students at Biddy Tarot, and that's why I've created a free guide just for you. This is my always handy, never fails you reference guide. And with this guide, you'll have all 78 tarot card meanings at your fingertips. Not to mention, there's a special bonus section for you to develop your own keywords for every card. So to download it below, just click on the link or go to biddytarot.com/free guide. Now, to practice this right now, you can download my free reference guide and then pick out 3 to 5 cards that you feel represent the most positive or negative cards of your tarot deck. And for each card, come up with at least one meaning or keyword that is the opposite or that allows you to connect with the energy of that card in a different way. So whichever cards that you choose, try using some of the techniques like we've talked about today. Explore the light and shade of the card. Maybe examine your assumptions and see if you can flip them around. Ask yourself, how could a negative card actually work for you instead of against you? And do the same for the positive cards. So consider what might be like too much of this positive energy. What might that look like? Or how could this actually be to my detriment? Then you can write your answers down in the bonus section of the reference guide, or simply keep them nearby for future tarot readings. And if you find a new interpretation that you love or that really surprised you, make sure to share it in the comments below. With all of this great info, you'll be able to approach your tarot readings with that extra boost of confidence, especially when you come across those cards that are good, bad, and not so ugly. So happy tarot reading and bye for now.